Hello friends, this video on electromagnetic induction part 15 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 14 before going ahead with part 15. So now we will talk about something called induction. So till now, what did we study? We just saw that how a magnetic flux or how a magnetic field is able to induce current in a coil. That means you place a coil, you do not connect it to any battery or anything, but you place a magnet in front of it. So because of the magnetic field or due to the change in magnetic flux, current will start flowing through that wire. That is all we studied in electromagnetic induction. So now we will study about the different types of induction. How can this current production in a coil takes place? So we will talk about different types of induction. So when I say induction, that means current production in a coil due to change in magnetic flux in itself or another coil. That means there are two ways. Either you can change the magnetic flux in that coil itself, or you bring another coil, do some magnetic flux change in some other coil, because of which current will produce in this coil. That means there are two ways you can produce current by change in magnetic flux. So this phenomenon of current production due to change in magnetic flux is called induction. Current production due to change in magnetic flux. So the two ways, they are called self-induction and mutual induction. So as the name suggests, self-induction means the coil will have a change in magnetic flux in itself, and because of which a current will be induced in itself. That means you have just one coil. In that coil itself, there is a change in magnetic flux because of which an induced current is produced. There is another thing that is called mutual induction. Whenever the term mutual comes, that means there are two things involved, right? So mutual induction would mean you have two coils. In one coil causes the change in magnetic flux in the other coil, because of which a current is induced in the other coil. That means, let us suppose you have coil A. So in coil A, a current is induced because magnetic flux change is produced by some coil B. That is mutual induction. But if you have coil A and current is induced in coil A because a change in magnetic flux is produced by coil A itself, that is your self-induction, right? So these are the two kinds of induction which we will study now. So we will first talk about a quantity called inductance. So inductance is basically a quantity which is a kind of, you can say it is a kind of measure of induction. We also call it as coefficient of induction. It will be a measure that how much current is induced with respect to this much flux change. With respect to this much flux, how much is the current induced. So that quantity is known as inductance. What did we see in the previous slide? We saw that the current which is induced in a coil is always proportional to the flux change, right? So we can also say that flux through a coil is proportional to the current. So we can say that this flux is proportional to I. Now if I consider a coil of n turns, because when I talk of coil, it is mostly having n number of turns, right? So I can say that the total flux with n number of turns will be n phi. This n phi is often known as, instead of flux, it is often known as flux linkage. That means the total flux linked with that coil, right? So the total flux will be proportional to I, or we can say that this will be equal to a constant into I. So this constant of proportionality is called inductance. This constant of proportionality is inductance. So this inductance is, when we talk about self-induction, then it is denoted by L. When I talk about mutual induction, then it is denoted by M. So we will talk about self-inductance and mutual inductance one by one. So as far as inductance is concerned, it is a scalar quantity. It has nothing to do with direction. The SI unit is Henry. SI unit for inductance is Henry. And what are the factors on which it depends? It depends upon the geometry of the coil. It also depends upon the nature of material of core on which the coil is wound. Why is it so? Because when I talk about this coefficient, basically this phi, that is the magnetic flux, is dependent on this inductance. Also, your flux will depend upon your magnetic field, and this magnetic field in turn depends upon the geometry of the coil, right? Magnetic field at any point. For a circular coil, it is different. For a straight wire, it is different. So, the geometry of the coil matters. Similarly, it also depends upon the nature of material of the core, because if it is a solenoid which has air inside, in that case, your magnetic field B will be mu naught Ni. If there is some material of some permeability mu, in that case your magnetic field will be mu Ni. So that means the factors on which your magnetic field depends, your inductance also depends on the same factors. Because you will come to know in the next slide when we try to find out an expression for self-inductance and expression for mutual inductance. Then you will see it for yourself that it depends upon the geometry of the coil, and it also depends upon the nature of material of core on which the coil is wound. Inductance is also known as coefficient of induction. So what is coefficient of induction? It basically tells the ratio of current that is induced with respect to the magnetic flux. Right? So it's time that we talk about each type of inductance one by one. So let us first talk about self-inductance. In self-inductance, you have a single coil. So there is a change in flux through that coil, and because of that flux change, there is a current induced in the same coil. So once the current gets induced, the current tries to oppose the change in flux. Right? So that is how it takes place. For example, let us consider this circuit. Now in this circuit, what happens when the circuit is closed? Current flows through the coil because of this battery. Now when current flows through the coil, what happens? The flux increases, because earlier the current was an open circuit. I mean, let us suppose that I switch it on now. So when I switch it on, current flows through the circuit. That means flux increases. Right? Current flows means a wire carrying a current, it will produce magnetic field. So flux increases. As a result of this flux increase, current is induced in the coil. Now this induced current will oppose the growth of current. Like the current which was flowing through the wire, this induced current will oppose the growth of that current. Right? That is how it will happen. So what is happening here? As the key is pressed, let us suppose you have a key here, right? As soon as you press the key, you have a closed circuit. So some current I flows through the coil. Now because of this current flow, flux increases. Now because of this increase in flux, induced current is set up in the coil. Now this induced current opposes the growth of current, because growth of current was the cause of the birth of induced current. Induced current was induced because the current was increasing through the coil, because as current was increasing, magnetic field was getting produced. As a result, there was magnetic flux which was increasing. Right? So we can say that for this coil, now let us suppose that this coil has n number of turns. So we can say that the flux linkage of this coil is n phi. So this n phi is directly proportional to the current which is flowing through the wire, right? So as the current increases, the flux also increases. So we can say that n phi is equal to some constant into I. Now this constant is known as self-inductance. That means self-inductance will tell us the ratio of the magnetic flux linkage of the coil to the current which it induces, right? So we can say that induced EMF, E is given by, from Faraday-Lenz law, it is d phi by dt. So what is phi in this case? So this we can say as d by dt of Li. Now here we are, this This phi means the total flux. So here n phi also means the total flux. So this becomes equal to minus L di by dt. So the induced EMF, this is the self-induced EMF, and this EMF will oppose the change in I. That means this EMF will oppose the increase of the current, because of the increase of current, this induced EMF was born, right? So the induced current will always try to oppose the growth of current. That's what I told you. So here, what is this I? This I is nothing but the current which flows through the coil when you press the key. So what is the phenomenon of self-induction? You press the key, a current flows through the coil. When the current flows through the coil, from magnetism, you know that a current carrying conductor or a current carrying solenoid will produce some magnetic field. There will be some magnetic field inside the solenoid. Because of this magnetic field, there will be a magnetic flux. So that means the flux is increasing. So when the flux increases, there will be an induced current. Now the induced current will be such that it opposes the cause. So the cause here is the flow of current. So the induced current will oppose the growth of current. So we can say that induced EMF will be equal to minus L di by dt. Now we will try to calculate, or we will try to derive an expression for self-inductance of a long solenoid. What is a long solenoid? Long solenoid is something whose length is very, very large when compared to the radius of the solenoid. If this is the radius of the solenoid and L is the length of the solenoid, if length is very large as compared to the radius, we call it a long solenoid, right? So we already know that magnetic field inside a long solenoid is given by mu naught Ni, where N is the number of turns per unit length. So this can be written as mu naught Ni divided by L, because capital N is the total number of turns. Please note it. Capital N is always represents total number of turns, and small n will represent number of turns per unit length. Right, so that is the convention which we will be following here. So we know that this is the magnetic field inside a solenoid. Now in this case, we are considering that the core of the solenoid has air. Since the core has air, that is why we have mu naught, which is permeability of free space. Right? So what would be the flux for this solenoid? Flux, by definition of magnetic flux, we know that it is B into A. That is magnetic field into area, but here it has n turns also, n number of turns. So the total flux will be NBA. So we can write it as n into B, which is mu naught Ni by L into A. Therefore, we can say that the total flux associated will be mu naught N square Ia divided by L. Right? We also know that the total flux associated, or you can call it as flux linkage. Also total flux is equal to Li, right? This is the total flux. This is also total flux. So total flux is also equal to Li, right? From the previous slide, we saw that N phi is equal to Li. So this represents, N phi represents the total flux. So total flux is equal to Li. Therefore, you can see from this first equation and second equation. So both of them represent total flux. So from 1 and 2, we can equate the right hand side of both. So we can say that Li is equal to mu naught N square Ia divided by L. The small l is the length of the solenoid and capital L is the self-inductance. So this I and I will get cancelled. So we can say self-inductance is equal to mu naught N square A divided by L. Right? So this is the self-inductance in terms of total number of turns N. Now in many books you might find it in terms of small n, that is number of turns per unit length. So in that case you can convert it into that. Instead of capital N, you put it as small n into L. Right? Okay, so this is how we calculated the self-inductance of a long solenoid. Thank you.